G'day and welcome back to the 40 channel. Due to popular demand and a few requests, we're actually finally going to get around to the heater box. Dismantle, clean up, paint, make it look brand new. Let's make it happen. I've got a bit to learn about this 40. First thing to do, we'll pull out all these Phillips head screws, remove all the plastic fittings that are on the box. On this little shaft that comes through, we've got one of these little star retainers. They can be pretty tricky to get off. Work your way around it. Try and get our pliers now that we've made a bit of movement. Righto. Able to save that. We should be able to pop that out. So as you can see, the foam is just falling apart and is just disintegrating. Alright, so we want to pull out the little radiator core. This should just pull straight off. Just like that. Now hopefully we should be able to just lift out our radiator core. Just be careful, we don't want to damage any of the fins. Righto, so that's out. We can give that a really good clean. The foam around my radiator core is actually in really good condition, so we won't rip any of that off. We won't change too much of this. We'll just clean it all up, flush it all out, and that should be fine. A couple more little screws. I've actually got a bit of a rogue screw here that shouldn't be there, and someone's packed it out with some washers and stuff here, so we'll need to rectify that when we get to that stage too. So let's just pull all this assembly off. So our lever bracket, we've got our little bush, little nylon bush, which I suspect is damaged on the other one. That's why it's all rogued. So we'll pull that other one off. Yeah, they've just packed it with a stack of washers. Slide that off. Make sure we don't lose any of these little bushes. Mine are in pretty good condition, which is excellent news. Another screw here. A little retaining bracket. We should be able to just slide that out. Again, all the foam in there is just totally perished, just falling away completely. So disassembly is nearly done. We've just got this last door here that's just falling apart. I'm going to pop this spring out from the inside. Slide that spring out. Righto, so we'll pull that spring out. We'll take note of which way that spring goes. We've got 3 little machine screws just along the door there. Unscrew them, lift that off, we'll be able to slide out the last shaft. Take that door off. Just pull that shaft straight out. I actually got a slight bend in the shaft, so I'll actually straighten that shaft up as well. Fix that up. Righto, disassembly is totally complete. Now all we've got to do is clean it all up. Right, just on the radiator core here, there's actually a fair bit of hair. There's more hair here than there is in my wife's salon. Oh, that's a bit gross. Oh, yuck. Why would there be hair in there? Oh, yuck. Righto, so that's what we've cleaned up off the gates and out of the radiator core, and there's still a lot more to come out of the radiator core yet. I don't know why, but there's hair. We're just going to get some CLR and just 50-50 it with water. Just going to pour it into our radiator core. Right, I've got that chockers full. I'm just going to let that sit there for a good hour or so while we continue the rest of the rebuild on the heater box, and then we'll give it a flush out later. Just giving it a bit of a spray of some degreaser. Give it a bit of a bath. Wash all the dirt, crud, oil, hair, anything else that might be left on it. Give it a little clean up with a wire brush. It's a brass wire brush, so it's nice and soft, but still harsh enough to give it a good clean. Righto, so as I mentioned before, this gate shaft or gate hinge is bent. Put a straight edge or a ruler up against it, you can actually see how bent it is. That should not be like that. So all we're going to do is put it in the vise using some aluminium soft jaws with a V cutout, just like that. So it's got a little V groove straight down the center that we can sit our shaft into. Slide it into the vise and then just slowly bend it right at that point. Now we've got to be very careful because that's where the screw hole is. If we bend it too much or we force it, it'll break and then we're buggered. So slide it into that groove, right to that point. If we line it all up, clamp it up nice and tight, just ever so slightly, just grab it and just give it a very slight little bend. Righto, so we've got that. Spot on. Putting a straight edge up against it, it is perfectly straight and square. Happy days. Save that shaft. Righto, with our really soft brass wire brush, just going to give that a bit of a scrub just in between all that lettering. Righto, so on my vents here, you can just see there's a bit of a nick and a big gash out of one of the vents. So we're actually going to repair that to make it look all new and pretty. So the first thing I'm going to do is just sand that back. Just clean it up with a little bit of grease and wax remover. Next thing I do is just get a little bit of electrical tape. Put some electrical tape to the back of it. So I'm going to use some power grip from Tool Kings, pretty cool stuff. It's a bit of glue and some powder. So all you do is put a little bit of glue down. They call it welding powder, but put a little bit of glue down, a little bit of powder down, a little bit of glue down, a little bit of powder down. And what it actually does is it binds the powder molecules together, and then you can sand it back, you can drill it, you can tap it. It's pretty cool stuff. It'll be perfect for repairing this and it'll come up like new. Let's do that. What the electrical tape actually does, It actually gives a back for the product to bind to. So there you can see it there, our little gash. We'll actually cut that back a bit so it gives us a bit more room to work with. So we'll get our glue, we'll just put a tiny bit of glue. Then we get our powder. A little bit of powder over that. A little bit more glue. A bit more powder. Alright, that's it. So that's our little repair done. It's pretty much instant. We can actually take that little bit of electrical tape off now. Alright, so now all we need to do is just get a file and we'll just file that back down, make it all smooth, and then when we paint it, you'll never know that there was a gash there. When you get down that smooth, you can actually hit it with some emery paper just to finish it off. So you can see the repair there, there's no more gash, it's all smooth. The other side as well, it's all repaired and done. So when we get right into these little vents, all around the little grooves, anywhere else, just to give it a really good clean. Righto, so we've scratched everything down by the plastic parts with the wire brush to really get in there and clean these metal bits. Now we're just going to rub the whole thing down with some 400. All the plastic components will also be rubbed down with 400. Alright, we're going to clean all the components down with wax and grease remover, then we're going to hit it with some edge primer. Then when that dries, we'll be able to give it full colour. Put it all back together then. Right, so the radiator core's been soaking for about 2 hours. So we'll give that a bit of a flush out there. Even looking down inside all the veins now, it looks pretty clean. Before it was a bit gummed up and a bit of calcium build up, and I can actually see, I mean, I'm only looking down 2 little holes, but I can see it looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Alright, we've got all our bits primed and cleaned up. We're also going to do some repairs to our crossover pipe. We've got a bit of damage just here, where the bracket goes to hold our cable. So we're going to do the same process and use that power grip to repair this as well. So same process, we'll put some electrical tape on the bottom and then we'll build it up with the glue and powder. Righto, so that repair's done. Again, we'll just give it a bit of a sand down so it's all nice and flat, and then that can be painted over as well. This will be like new too, all coming together. So as you saw before, there was a little nylon bush that was missing and they just packed it full of washers. So what I'm going to do is I just found this little bit of nylon strip here. I'm going to attempt to try to make up something that will replace that bush. So I'm pretty happy with the way that's come up for a bit of a quick bit of a knock-up job. That will work beautifully instead of packing some washers. Let it dry and then we'll give it another coat. These are just paint pens, perfect for this. Actually the red's working quite well. I might just put a couple coats on it. I'll let that dry. We'll give them both another bit of a coat, make it come up a bit brighter. Alright, that's come up really nice. Alright, I've got this foam with an adhesive back on it, so we'll be able to cut that off and then we can put the foam back on our gates. Righto, so we've got our new foam backing on there, on one gate. Chuck it on the other gate. This goes on both sides of this gate. Actually heat this up a bit to warm it up, makes it stick a lot better. It's only 5 degrees outside, so you can either sit it in the sun if you've got a nice hot sunny day, or use a heater, warm it all up. Righto, time for some reassembly. So bottom gate, just slide into that hinge. We've got our little bracket, we can bolt that back on, hold it all into place. Put our radiator core back in. Now the foam on this was really good condition. It's not perished, it's not damaged, so I'm able to reuse that. Otherwise, just use the same stuff that we did before. Put our cap on top. Alright, we get our shaft, slide it straight through our hole. We'll leave it hanging down. Put our spring into that little groove, pop it through the hole at the bottom here. Spring is sitting in there, sitting up on top. Now we can line up these holes and do these little bolts up. Give that a little test. Alright, so we're going to bend this back over, just to stop it coming out. Put the top back on now. Line all our holes up. Put our vents on, facing them up, line those holes up. We'll get our newly painted little guide, slide that in place. Throw these screws in too. Okay, take one of our bushes, slide it over our bottom shaft. Then we take my little manufactured bush, sit that on the back of this main bracket. Slide that over bottom shaft while lining up that hole. And we'll do this screw up. Take another one of our bushes, we'll slide it over this. Right, I put our top bush on, manufactured bush on at the bottom. Actually going to do try something a little bit different. Get that done up if we can. All lined up. Then I'm actually going to slide this bush over that. Get a brand new shaft ring. I'm going to slide that over here to retain that bush. A new shaft ring, so push that on. It's pretty hard to get on, but it won't come off, so that'll hold all this bush in place to stop all this coming out or moving at all. Righto, that's it. So we've got our heater box completely rebuilt. So we stripped it right down, new foam, all new nuts and screws, new paint job, most of all new foam inside. Flushed out the radiator. It has come up like an absolute treat. I am super happy the way this looks. I think it'll really complement the inside of the vehicle. So any little bling you can get inside, all the better, I reckon. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your support. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. Feel free to leave a comment. And again, if you guys want me to share your build, send me an email. Righto, guys. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, we'll see you then. Today on Inspirations, we're going to look at Denny's FJ40, which has a 2H motor in it, just like this one, and his HJ47. Denny's love for 40s started back in the 80s, when he got a job at 12 years old. Mate, that's commitment, Denny. With his school principal, shooting down to the horse stables, helping him out. A little bit later in life, Dan's dad brought an FJ45, which he learned to drive in. 40s were really starting to hit him hard. About 9 years ago, Denny bought his first F40 series, HJ47. It was pretty rusty. Actually, it was so rusty, as he was bringing it home, the roof in the rear panel fell off. Good one. On top of that, the 2H was blown. It's not all as bad as it sounds. He only paid $500 for it. So, the work began. Swapped out the 2H, cleaned it all up, and started using it as his daily driver. Replacing all the bearings, cutting out the rust, putting an ARB bull bar on there. This 47's seen some serious work, and Dan's already on his 5th tray. The ute's all been cleaned up and is ready for full use all over again, just like new. Dan's already taken his ute all over the place. This thing's seen beaches, deserts, high country, coasts. He's really taken it out there and seeing Australia. Dan plans to continue to use it for a lot more camping with him and his family. Dan, like any good father, didn't take long for him to start distilling the love for 40s in his own kids' lives. Getting them involved in services, taking them out on drives and camping trips. About 3 years ago, Dan found himself an FJ40. This one had an alloy V8 Rover motor, as well as some seriously mismatched panels. He was able to pick up a donor ute, which gave him all the running gear he needed to get this FJ40 back on the road, including swapping out for the 2H, floating rear axles, a full nut and bolt restoration, and a paint job. Dan tells me, for a painter, he makes a sensational farmer. Dan's been able to attend 2 OCA meetings. Dan was really hoping to make it this year as well. Unfortunately, we all know what happened there. So he's got his eyes set on next year. So if you make it OCA next year, which hopefully I will too, look out for Dan's FJ40. If you want to check out what Dan's been up to with his FJ40, his HJ47, check out Dan's Instagram page, Blackberry Hill Farm, where you can keep up with Dan's build and some of his adventures. Dan, I love what you've done with your HJ47 and all the trips that you're taking all around Australia. It's great that you're getting your kids involved in such a young age, and your FJ40, well, I could steal a photo of that and show people that I've completed mine. Well done, mate. Anyway, that's it for today's Inspirations. If you guys have got a build you want me to share, flick me an email, 4045channel@gmail.com. Until next time, take care.